Hello everyone, welcome. Doing something a little different today. Wanted to do a reaction video to Tectone's Zenless Zone Zero critique. I think that he hit the nail on the head with some of his criticisms. I think depending on how you're playing the game, I don't know if he's playing an EN, VA, or JP. I did find that the male MC uh, was actually kind of interesting. Uh, I do agree with his criticism of the design. The design is pretty mid compared to Bell, but the way that they drive the story forward together is a big change from Genshin Impact, which is generally just Paimon yapping most of the time with a bunch of dialogue bloat, or Honkai Star Rail, where the main character, the Trailblazer, tends to just reply with unvoiced dialogue options. There's a few times where the main character does speak, um, but generally their interactions with other members of the cast is carried by whoever their supporting character is, whether that be Dan Hung or March the 7th. Uh, that those are generally the characters that kind of drive the story instead of the Trailblazer. With Zenless Zone Zero, though, the two MCs continuously have dialogue with pretty much all the other playable cast, and as well as NPCs or vendors within the world of Zenless Zone Zero. So the ramen shop owner, the coffee guy, the music lady, I can't remember her name, or the arcade manager, right? They have voice dialogue for both Wise and Bell, and I do think that this is very immersive compared to Hoyoverse's past titles, where the main character literally says nothing for the most part, and the game has a lot of dialogue bloat like Genshin Impact does. So for me, this is a very refreshing change. I do think that the design of Weiss is pretty mid. I do think that that probably needs some kind of change. He looks literally like the male trailblazer from Honkai Star Rail. I agree that it is nothing. He's nothing special. Um, when it comes to other aspects of the game, I did find the censorship myself also very disappointing. I did feel like it was a bait and switch. They sold us one bill of goods, which was Nicole is going to be looking like this, but it's not just Nicole, Nekomata, and Ambi, as well as I believe Soldier 11, all got changes made to them to get through what I assume is CN censorship for the licensing process. So I don't know if they're going to revert those changes. I will play this part of Tectone's video, just kind of get his thoughts on it, and then I will add my additional commentary at the end.
The rates are still shit. It is a Hoyoverse game. Let's go over cons. The CN censorship is unbelievable. I mean, it is. It is. I'm not going to sit here and say Nicole's boobs. But one more time, they ruined Nicole's boobs. Oh, they're still good. They were so hot. Oh, God, whatever. The R34 artist will still animate them getting anyway, so I don't care. I just don't like censorship. It's clearly they wanted to make the model look like that. And then they were like, oh, dude, change them quick. They're too unrealistic. Whoa. Unrealistic expectations in a video game? What are you going to tell me next? The characters have superpowers?
Yeah, this unrealistic thing that is being toted around by stupid people on Twitter and TikTok, I think is probably the most annoying shit I've seen since, yeah, in a while actually. I mean, it, and it's all from the same type of people. It's the Hu Tao in a McDonald's hat, cook him, slay type of obnoxious Genshin stands generally are the ones that are retweeting this crap, or it is the worst mentally ill people within the Honkai Impact the Third community, uh, as evidenced by the retweet that Tectone retweeted on his profile with the Fuha lovers or wife, or I don't even remember what the F the name was. But yeah, clearly somebody in need of medication. So it you know it's interesting that that person finds her chest is unrealistic, but their own unrealistic expectation is that somehow they're married to a fake character. So yeah, good luck with that, and good luck convincing the rest of us that that is a valid opinion.
If you tell me unrealistic equals needs to be censored, you are actually a idiot. What do you want them to do? Censor Naruto whenever he does the Rasengan? It's a video game. Things are unrealistic for a reason. It's because the real world is depressing 9 times out of 10. Who cares? Make the characters look unrealistic. I don't need. Oh, dude, where the is the bald, angry, loud, fat guy? And like, am I screaming for that representation? No, I don't care.
They did actually add him. It's the guy that works at the bamboo shop. So his representation is there. He just has a hat on.
I like when characters look absurd. Oh god, what are you gonna tell me? Next they have a cat girl? A fish girl? Oh, but a boobie's a little bit too big. That's where we draw the line. Just change it back. Let a video game be unrealistic like video games should. Let's go more forward. The combat is completely unbalanced.
Okay, so before we get into the combat piece, uh, I do think that there are still some problems with the censorship, which is going to be the bait and switch. So they promised one version of Nicole. Now the game hasn't been sold or anything like that. No one's paid any money, as far as I know, to have that version of Nicole. So these changes, while they do suck, it's not necessarily any kind of legal issue for Hoyoverse. Whereas if there were people that have already spent money on the game and they've now changed the game, changed the characters completely, there probably is some kind of liability there where a person could basically ask for a refund, right? I don't know whether this character, which is Rena, will survive. Uh, Her bust size now, I believe, is the largest in game. The other major issue here is going to be her costume design. I think that they might have snuck one past the CN sensors, so to speak. You'll see what I'm talking about here in the clip. Uh, but I mean, her design is actually really nice. Her playstyles I actually very much enjoy. But that flip of the skirt, I don't think that stays in. I don't think that those stockings will also stay in the game. I see those are going to probably go. There's no way that maybe it might have got past them the first time. With all the clips that come out of the game and people simping, so to speak, I don't see this staying in the game. Now, do I want it to stay in the game? Yes, I do. But obviously, because no one's paid any money, Hoyoverse can kind of do whatever they want to these character designs. Uh, and if this was a situation where people had already spent money trying to get these characters, it would be a different scenario. We might have the Genshin Impact scenario where Rosaria, she got nerfed before release, but then after release, they also censored her costume. But for Western audiences, they got the choice of the CN costume or the Western costume. Same with Amber, as well as Mona and Jean. Is this going to be the paradigm moving forward? I don't know. I think that maybe after release, if there's a problem with the censors, that would be what would happen. But in this case, because it's pre-release, no one's paid money. I think they're free to legally do whatever they want to censor the game to appease the CN censors to get the game published, right? Like that is ultimately what their main priority is at this point. They are not going to care about whether it's a small or a medium-sized Western audience that is mad about Nicole's tits getting nerfed or Nekomata's design or Ambi's design getting changed. They don't care. Most of the players that are going to spend money are the CN audience anyway. So that is just kind of how it is. I don't expect that they will make any changes based on people retweeting angry things at them, unfortunately. Next criticism I also have is combat. I'm gonna like listen to what Tectone has to say, and then we'll jump into my views.
Balanced. There's certain characters, even 4 stars, where you can trivialize the entire game very easily. Minimal gear, minimal levels. You can just literally just left click spam, spacebar spam, and you can beat everything in the whole game without even thinking. That's just me. I'm hoping it's not a. Oh god. I really don't think it's a because I'm. I'll just say it. I really don't think it's just a me being really good at video games thing. I do genuinely just think that the game is really easy. Like,
Yeah, so I am actually good at video games. Kidding, kidding. I do play hard games. I've seen Tectone play Liza P, as well as Armored Core. He beat Beltius before I did, obnoxiously. I don't know how, but like some of these more difficult FromSoft games require you to not be a button mashing moron and to actually understand boss fight sequences, understand timings, all of these things, like these little mechanics that can make the game feel rewarding when you pull them off, especially on hard boss fights. I haven't experienced any of that in ZZZ. It does not feel like there's any game balance with any enemy where I couldn't just overpower them with basically spamming attacks. There are chain attacks that are really fun when you pull them off. They do feel rewarding, but the enemies in some cases die so fast that you basically can do one perfect assist and they die in some cases. And there's not any punishment either for being a button mashing Neanderthal. So if you mash buttons, you can probably eventually kill all the enemies. This was one of the reasons why I stopped using Billy, because you could just shoot anything all over the map if you're playing on controller, like just pressing the X button over and over. And it didn't honestly feel rewarding. It just felt like I was playing a really game that was a loot and shoot kind of, but not really getting any good loot because uh, we get into the story missions and what you get for rewards. I mean, they're pretty mid, honestly. So you're not really getting much loot for all the shooting you're doing. The combat in some instances feels fine, but then in other instances, like this, for example, is a serious boss fight. So this is a serious boss fight. I believe this is the end of Soldier 11's story. And essentially, yep, first one's already dead. We're 10 seconds in. Nicole is about to fuck him up right there. I just dodge and shock the shit out of him with Rena, and oh, he's dead. Nicole didn't get to do her perfect assist because he's already dead. Great. So again, this is a perfect example of the combat just not feeling rewarding. I honestly did not feel rewarded during this sequence. I was like, I was expecting a cool boss fight, maybe multi-level health bar or boss sequence, and basically just they both died instantly. Like my characters are not that strong. I think Nicole's level 20 there, and uh, Rena is level 30, and I have basically level 1 relics on them. Haven't even leveled them up. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with that aspect of the combat. But I personally feel like it needs to be higher risk uh, and rewarding, right? So one of the things I would like to see is maybe a stamina bar introduced. Maybe people are gonna hate me for saying this, but you should get punished if you're just spamming attacks. Like there should be some kind of cooldown if you're spamming attacks. Like If that's all you're doing, um, there should be a bit of a punishment for it. The same way there is in Elden Ring, right? Like you can't just infinitely spam and roll. Like eventually you run out of stamina and you get hit, right? So if you're playing like a bitch, then you get punished. Like that's I think that that should be part of the game, and maybe that's not a permanent setting. Maybe that's like a hard mode setting or something. But I don't know how would want to come back to this game if the most fun is the combat, but the combat isn't always rewarding. Like the boss sequences, that one for example, yesterday, that was one of the first times like where I had a boss sequence where I was like, I I I didn't feel like I accomplished anything.
Like beyond easy. I mean this genuinely. I don't think I've had a single thought of what to do or not to do in the combat in its entirety. It's just I hear the shing, I press spacebar, and then everything dies. Let's keep going. Yeah, the TV roguelike.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I mean that's exactly it. Like the timing of parries and counters, as I mentioned before with Dark Souls, it feels rewarding. It does not feel rewarding. I like I said, my suggestion I think is change it so you're not button mashing it. Like increase the risk to reward ratio. Like if you do something risky, it does more damage. Maybe sequences or something with the enemies. Like most of them have different attack patterns, but they don't honestly matter because a lot of the times they just die too easily. Or there's the one off where like you just have an enemy that's way across the map and you can't reach on a counter. I don't know what else they can do to fix it other than punish players for being sloppy and like add, I don't know, some kind of mechanic. Like they already have quantum ether or I'm sorry, ether and freeze and physical elements. I hate to make it like HSR, but maybe that has to be some part to it is that you need to use certain elements to counter more effectively or to break shields or I don't know, something, some kind of mechanic that's going to improve the overall experience so it feels fun to use your entire team, not just button mash with Billy or spam basically black holes with Nicole because that is like the easiest thing to do honestly right now is fire black hole in Nicole and then with Rena I just use her electro ball and everything dies because they're all stuck together.
Aspect has borderline gone away. Now it's just little puzzles. The puzzles are boring. The energy system sucks. 20 energy per side quest, 30 energy for main quest. Just needs a lot of work. I don't know why we're expending energy on main quest and side quest. I think it should be free. It's just my opinion. Have the
Okay, so on this, and this will be my last topic because I agree with this. And I had yesterday's stream, I basically got soft locked in the game. The energy for story is BS and needs to be removed. I think that energy for farming character materials, building characters, maybe the rally thing, but the rally thing, the rewards are terrible. They're absolutely trash. It's not worth. I think you got to spend 60 energy on that. It's not worth it to even do it. Now you got to do it 3 times in a week, and you get 400 film. Is that really worth it? I don't think so. I couldn't. I'm too lazy right now to calculate the math on whether that ratio of film is or the ratio of energy is better spent somewhere else because it's about 60 energy uh, or 100 energy for 60 film roughly. But besides the point, the soft locking and the requirement of players to progress through story and then having to spend energy to progress through that story, I think is also a big con. A good example of this yesterday was I got forced basically into having to do a story quest with Bellabog Industries with Ben. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to actually go build my characters. Basically, it says, oh, hey, look, you unlock this new thing, this new hollow that you need to go investigate. Well, hey, guess what? I don't want to do that. I only have 28 energy. I'm not in the mood to do it. I just want to go do mini games or something else. Oh, well, I can't do that. Not allowed. Why? Why am I not allowed to do that? Because you need to complete the story. Well, I don't have enough energy to complete the story because I'm only at 28 energy and it requires 30 to do the story. So what do I do for, let's say, 10 minutes to get my energy back? Well, I figured I would go play Slither.io in the game store. Well, it's nighttime. So guess what? You can't do that either because the game stores close at night, and you can't interact with the couch to pass game time for it to be morning because it has to be night when you do the story quest. So like there's this basic um, conflicting set of criteria in the game that says, hey, you need to do this, but you have to pay for it. Well, you don't have enough, so you can't uh, play unless you pay with film. And I don't want to pay with film. I would rather just go take 10 minutes, go try to get a new record in Slither or in the other one, the I don't know, the digging bomb dog game, whatever the hell it is, and then come back, right? Well, I'm not allowed to do that either. So I think that this whole paying for required quests it has to go. So that is all from me on this. I do find a lot of his commentary to be correct. I think the game needs a lot of work before it goes for global release. Obviously, the censorship, we'll see what happens as that shakes out. Will character designs change again? But in terms of like the overall playability of the game, I have enjoyed playing it. I'm gonna play it again tonight. I'm not a hater of the game. I just find like certain aspects of it very much need to be improved for a global release. It feels very restrictive. The menu system is another thing I would like to lastly complain about. There literally just needs to be a claim all on all these screens because it is absurd having to pick through videos on the shelf to claim rewards. That shit also drives me insane. So let me know what y'all think and whether or not you agree with Tectone or if he's just a bald meanie that is picking on another Hoyoverse game. Thank you very much and feel free to subscribe or check me out on Twitch TV /whykusanagi.